Hi, everyone. It's the Agnihotra lady broadcasting live here at Shanti, Atlanta, located in Conyers, Georgia. And I'm so happy to be with you this Saturday at 7 p.m., wherever you're viewing the show. Started a few minutes late. I had a long day, very busy day, but I'm happy to be here for yet another great episode sharing information about Agnihotra and other ancient Ayurvedic wisdom that I've learned throughout the years from my teacher, Sri Charles Davis. And I believe he will be joining us tonight. Sri Charles runs Shanti Institute, and that's located in Tuskegee, Alabama. Shanti Atlanta is the Atlanta campus of Shanti Villa. So as always, we're going to start off with Varuti mantra to give a blessing for the Q&A. I will post the link. So if you all want to join the Q&A on Zoom, you can just join with audio and ask any questions, or you can post questions on Facebook. So let's get started with the Varuti mantra. Agnihotra Namama Swaha Vayave Namama Swaha Surya Namama Bhurva Swaha Prajapatiye Namama. So, as most of you know, I teach Agnihotra, which is an Ayurvedic practice that's done in a copper pyramid that brings about purification for the planet and for yourself. And so the basis of all the talks I talk about are Agnihotra and various Ayurvedic teachings that can help you live a beautiful, fruitful, peaceful life. Stress-free. That's what we're aiming for, right? With all these things that are happening. I do want to say and I did post for anyone that's in Oregon, Washington, and California. I have friends in all three places. I'm sending out love and light, hoping that everything turns out okay. I know that in Washington, they had to do some evacuations today. So anyway, if you can check in on Facebook saying that you're safe. I know some people have marked themselves safe in Oregon the other day. But anyway, just let me know. That would be great. So I'm going to go ahead and post the link and let people get on to the Facebook Live. I do this every Saturday at 7 p.m. And it lasts approximately an hour. Agnihotra sunset starts a little bit earlier, so I don't necessarily do a full hour if I'm trying to be enough time to do Agnihotra. So actually, let me set my alarm for that, so that way I can make sure that yeah, so it'll be a little earlier today. So I have a lot to cover. Let me just look at the time. Sunset here in Atlanta is 7:46. So let me go ahead and jump right into it. Let me post the Zoom link. So welcome everyone. Let me do this because sometimes I forget to do that. And then people are not able to post their questions. Okay. Okay. And then you're also welcome to send donations. My Cash App is right there. I just posted the Zoom information. My Cash App is $ Shanti, CHANTI, Shanti D, DEE, Shanti D. And I'm also on PayPal. My PayPal is Shanti Atlanta Center at Gmail if you want to send something through those things if you care to make a donation. Okay, let's see. So we did that. So let me just wait a couple seconds for everyone to come on. I'm just going to share to a couple of pages. So give me a second. And then let me see if Sri Charles is going to come on. I think he is going to come on. So I will wait a couple of minutes, but welcome everyone. Hope you're having a wonderful Saturday. Okay, let me share. Okay, here we go. Share a couple other little places, and then we can go ahead and get started. And if Sri Charles comes on, then he would just jump in. Okay, let's see here. Okay, Shanti. Okay, so I'm sharing to a couple pages here. And I'm trying to give Sri Charles a little time to see if he's going to come on. I believe he was going to come on, so okay, let me share to one more place and then we can get started here. And so today's talk, we're going to talk about beyond the five senses. We're going to talk about the elements and how it relates to Agnihotra. And I'm also going to demonstrate another mudra. I know we did a couple of mudra demonstrations beforehand. And so I want to do another one. And then what else are we going to talk about? And then we're going to talk about the power of forgiveness. So those are the topics tonight that we're going to talk about. And these are, and usually these talks are based on conversations that me and Sri Charles have throughout the day, each day. And I like to share those conversations with everyone because they're very good conversations, very good conversations. And yeah, I enjoy sharing information. So let me share one more page and then we can get started. Okay, so this is the Agnihotra Lady Show. And like I said before, I talk about various ancient Ayurvedic teachings that can bring about great joy and love in your life. As always, I talk about things to ease away the chaos that you may be experiencing due to all the things that are happening. And a lot of these things are distractions to keep you away from really working on yourself and getting to the best version of yourself that you can be. So remember that, you know, looking at too much of these things and getting distracted by all these headlines can have negative effects. And so a lot of what I teach during the show is there are specific techniques to ease the tension and stress from day-to-day activities, because those are things that really break down on your immune system. A lot of people are having depression issues and things like that because of the social distancing and people don't have jobs and things like that. But really, you want to be able to have happiness no matter what's happening outwardly in your life. Happiness has to be something that you work for that's inside. It has nothing to do with outside things because outside things change constantly. So, you know, you definitely want to be cultivating a sense of happiness that has no attachment to other things. That's really what true happiness is. Other things, material things, outside things are changeable. As we know, things change day to day now when you look at TV. So you have to have a way to cope and a way to cultivate happiness without depending on outside things. And that's what Ayurveda is all about. And that's what I teach here at Shanti Atlanta. So now when we talk about the five senses, which is the first topic, you know, we're talking about things that you know by observing with your eyes. You taste something, you smell something, you feel something. You know, we have these five senses, and that's how we really identify who we are as humans, through what we see, what we hear. Okay, this is how we process things, you know, as humans. But in Ayurveda, and many ancient teachers talk about, there's 5 other senses beyond the 5 senses. And you can tap into those senses if you do a lot of meditation, if you do a lot of deep breathing, and if you just sit still. So the Cosmic Clinic, as we talked about several episodes ago, these are times throughout the day in which you're quiet and you get a boost to your immune system, and you get a boost of energy to your being just by sitting still at these times. And they're 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock, sunrise, 10 a.m., 12 noon, 3 p.m., then again at sunset. So, you know, we do fires at those times. You don't have to sit and do a fire like I've said before. You can just sit still. And during those times, if you do this frequently enough and if you sit still long enough, you can activate other senses beyond the 5 senses. And many teachers and groups have talked about this. I mean, this is not something new. So what some of us may ignore really is intuition. Some people may have dreams that come true. Some people may be able to do distant healing. And these are things that have been going on for many centuries. Many yogis and ancient teachers have known that developing beyond your 5 senses is really going into a level that's beyond your body, beyond the mind, and beyond the intellect. So last week I talked about having a balance between your intellect and mind in terms of talking positively and doing good deeds, and the type of karma that comes about when you do these things. So what we're talking about is when you sit still long enough, when you have purified thoughts, when you have purified words coming out of your mouth and purified actions, then we're talking about going beyond the 5 senses. And everyone can do it. So people are talking about, well, you know, I need to be able to communicate with my cell phone. I need to be able to communicate with the computer. You can communicate any way that you would like, because you are a human. And a human is filled with superpowers if you develop them. And so when you do the deep breathing, when you do Agnihotra, when you do meditation, when you sit still, when you do yoga on a regular basis, all of these things, they're meant to bring about a union of your body, mind, and spirit. And so when you do these things regularly, something happens to you. There's something beautiful that transforms within you when you do all these things. So now when we talk about the 5 senses, we're not saying you're going to develop these superpowers and you're going to manipulate or use them or abuse them. No, this is meant, really, all these things are meant for you to be one with the Creator, being one with the Mother, Father, God. Okay? So, and to deepen your consciousness, because this body is just our physical body while we're on this planet. There's a transformation that happens upon your physical death, and then you'll go into another plane of existence. But we'll talk about that on another show. But I did want to talk about going beyond the 5 senses. And, you know, for anyone that wants to come by and talk about this more in detail, or maybe I can even do another episode talking about that. But it's very real. And I told someone, actually a young girl, about 9 years old, that came over here. She was looking at, what is the cartoon Avatar that got released on Netflix? And I said, all those things are true. I said, we as humans, we've forgotten the powers that we have. And so and she says, really? And her eyes get so big. And I said, yeah, we have all these powers. All that stuff is true. All these powers. And so, and many ancient peoples have talked about this. So it's time for people to know that they're great and powerful. and you can communicate, you can travel out of your body, you can do all these things without our modern technology that we have in our society. There are so many things that you can do as a human because you're made in the image of the Creator, Mother, Father, God. And if the Creator is great, then so we too are great, and we're made in the image. That means we have the same powers bestowed upon us because we're the daughters and sons of the Creator. So now we're going to get into the 5 elements. Okay, so we've talked about the elements before, and before I get into that, let me see if anyone has come on here and asked a question. I'd like to pause a bit. Let me just see if anyone's trying to come on. Okay, so with the 5 elements, of course, you have earth, wind, fire, water, and the ethers, outer space. And so fire is the only element that can change all the other elements. So fire is very special. That's a special element. And so with Agnihotra, which this is the process of Agnihotra, not this here, but Agnihotra, for those of you that are familiar, we do specially prepared fire at sunrise and sunset. And we chant sacred mantras. And then there's a burst of energy that comes from the sun that interacts with the pyramid. And we put dried cow dung, ghee, and brown rice. And there's a beautiful transformation that comes to the planet from doing Agnihotra. So, of course, we use fire. So there's some very, very good physics that comes about from using the fire. Since fire changes all the other elements. I mean, when you do Agnihotra, you are transforming on the smallest level, the very essence of things. So let me repeat that again. When you perform Agnihotra, there's this miraculous and profound physics effect that's happened. And when you think of physics, things are you look at things on the smallest level. Okay, so you're affecting things on a very subtle, very small level, subatomic. Okay, and then that's when you're able to change the very essence of things. So it's a very powerful practice, Agnihotra. And so if you practice this every day, what do you think happens to the essence of your being, the essence of yourself? Whatever things need to get cleaned up within yourself. You become more forgiving, more loving. There's a physical transformation. You become healed. And they say that people that do Agnihotra for a long time, the skin changes, your voice changes. You're changing the chemistry of your thoughts, how you think. You're able to resolve things better. You are changed. So you're not going to do the same things if you're thinking differently. So that's the power of Agnihotra. And so fire is the only element that can change all the rest of the elements. And of course, all the elements work in concert with each other. Just like humans, we are to be in harmony with our brothers and sisters, our neighbors, whether we know them or not. That's what Agnihotra is about. That's what about being a human is about. And so really living life is about transforming yourself, not staying still and always aiming to transform yourself. So whenever you sit in front of the Agnihotra pyramid, just think about the pollution it cleans up in the atmosphere. Agnihotra cleanses the air, the water. Okay, it's great for the soil. And it has a effect that goes 8 miles up, 2-mile radius. And so this is very healing. And so when you think about all the stress and tension that is happening in the world, let's just talk about the different ways in which we could deal with them. So let's start with tension on your body. You're sick, or muscles are stiff or there's pain, you use yoga. But yoga can be used for physical transformation, physical healing, as well as you know, your mind and the spirit. So you use that to ease the tension of your entire body. Yoga, that's one of the benefits of that. And then let's say your mind, you have a lot of thoughts that are just running around. Then we use deep breathing, and we've talked about, and we demonstrated I think 2 shows ago, some deep breathing techniques. And deep breathing also affects the body. It's very healing. It tones the organs. It flushes toxins out. So, and when you do deep breathing on a regular basis, it eases that tension, that stress off your mind. Okay, so now people are talking about, they're figuring out these fires that we're having. It has to deal with climate change, which of course these fires are adding to our pollution problem. So, you know, the air quality is going to be even worse in these places, you know, especially California already had smog problems. So now you have the pollution that enters into your immediate environment and the extended environment, and it affects your mind. So we breathe about 2,500 gallons of air every day. And so think about if that air is toxic. So Agnihotra is a way to clear that pollution from your mind and your thoughts, because pollution does affect your thoughts. Let's think about this now. You're breathing air, you're eating food grown from a polluted planet. Do not think does not affect your thoughts. We may think about, oh, we get sick or someone gets cancer or whatever, or heart disease from eating improperly. But you remember, we are thinking human beings. And so your thought process, that is affected by breathing in toxic air, drinking toxic water, eating toxic food. That affects your thoughts. And we've seen this too, I think in Food 101, they were talking about, they just changed the diet in schools, in alternative schools for kids, where the kids were deemed bad, no kid is bad, and put into a special school. It changed the diet, and the children's behavior improved by like 70–80%. Most of them could go back to regular classroom, regular school. So that tells you the importance of having healthy food, so your brain can function, so your behavior is peaceful and harmonious with those around you. So take it a step further into the air you breathe and everything else. And this explains why people are violent and arguing and different things like that, because there's so much pollution now, and the earth is just trembling with it. And we have to do something in order to clear that. So with Agnihotra, that's a way to ease the pollution from your mind and your environment. And like I said, it goes 8 miles up in 2-mile radius. And so the last thing I want to say about that is that also bad habits that we have, maybe overeating and working too many hours, or just being greed, lustful, things like that, that creates a lot of tension too. And that's where you have to have the discipline to ease that tension and stress from yourself, to not overeat, to not work too much, to not be greedy, and to not be lustful. And lustful is not just, oh my gosh, you know, having too much sex or whatever it is. Lust can be becoming preoccupied with anything where it takes over your life. So lust is not just something related to sex, everyone. Lust has to do with being preoccupied with one thing to the detriment of everything else. That is lust. There's supposed to be a balance in anything in your life. So, and greed, lust, envy, all these things, which is some of the crocodiles that attack us. And like I said, with the deep breathing, with yoga, with Agnihotra, it would ease that tension and help dissolve these bad habits. And we all have these bad habits. So these are ways that we can manage. So let me pause a second, because we're going to end here right before Agnihotra time. I wish I had a big enough table so I could do Agnihotra on my table's small. So I can't do Agnihotra here. So let me move along here because it's 7:31. Okay, so now let's talk about forgiveness. Now, last week we were talking about various ways in which to be peaceful in your life, and we talked about various ways in which to, not gossip, saying kind words, being positive with your thoughts, and having a balance between what you think, what you say, and what you do with your actions. And that's truly being balanced. When you have a balance between those three, then there's a mind and intellect meeting of those two, and then you're not in conflict. So a lot of times we're doing things that are conflicting, and that causes a lot of tension too. So we had to do those things that are balanced in every aspect of the thoughts, the words, and the actions. So let's talk about forgiveness. And Sri Charles and I were talking about, forgiveness is something, and I know some people say, recently, the young man whose brother was killed by the police officer that bust down the door. Everybody's like, well, why does he always have to forgive? Some people were saying that, but why not? And actually, forgiveness, people don't realize is that the entire planet, it survives upon forgiveness. Forgiveness is a potent karma transformer. You can transform some bad karma just by having total forgiveness, sincere forgiveness. It purifies your mind, because you're saying that what has happened to me is not going to overtake my mind, my thoughts, my life. I'm going to move forward with love and forgiveness. And then the person that you're forgiving, there's something that they can learn too. They may not learn it in the way that you think they should learn it, but then there's a purification that happens for them. And there's a purification that happens for the entire planet, because the whole planet is held together by forgiveness. And I've talked before about the entire planet vibrates with our love vibration as humans, because we're the caretakers of this planet. Okay, this whole entire universe is built on vibrations. Okay, and love is the highest form of vibration. So what do you think happens when you practice forgiveness? Like I said, that is some potent karma that you created when you practice forgiveness. And it has to be real forgiveness. It can't be like, well, I forgive you, but no, it has to be really like real forgiveness. There's a old, I think it's a book or something called the Bishop's Candlesticks, and a inmate had gotten out of jail. This is a book, I don't know, written in the 18 or 1900s, and he was a known thief. I don't know, maybe a murderer. And the bishop, I don't know, somehow he was eating at the bishop's house, and he just couldn't help himself. He just got out of jail 3 or 4 days prior. He ended up stealing some very expensive candlesticks, immediately got caught. And so the bishop immediately told the law, hey, I gave them to him. He didn't steal those. And so what ended up happening, because that was the bishop's way of saying, okay, I understand, you just got out of jail and you couldn't help yourself, I forgive you. And he let that go. And they were very expensive. He wasn't trying to get them back from the criminal. So the criminal, as a result, and I do believe the story says that he changed his life based upon that act of forgiveness. And he kept them with him wherever he went to remind him of that act of forgiveness. So that's an example of what you are aiming to do, we all are aiming to do when we're talking about forgiveness. Because when we hold on to what Aunt so-and-so did, or what our dad did back when we were growing up, or what the co-worker did, or, you know, that she really ticked me off, I'm never going to speak to them again. Some people, you know, some of us, we haven't spoken to our family members for what, 5, 6, sometimes even 15 years. Is it really important? And I'm not saying you have to be around the people, you know, all the time, but if these thoughts consume you to the point where you're angry and you sweat and you have a racing pulse, then it does not serve you physically. It's affecting your endocrine and your nervous system, and it's not serving you spiritually. It's definitely not serving your karma, because when you radically forgive, sincerely forgive, then you receive forgiveness too, triple fold. That's how that works. Okay, so we may not have time for the mudra demonstration. Let me, yeah, because we're running out of time. Let me do this first. So in case we run out of time, because Agnihotra is at 7:46. So anyway, okay, so this is the Mudra book, The Secret Science of Mudras, and I did like a presentation on this 2 or 3 weeks ago, but we sell it at shantibillainstitute.com. This is authored by Sri Charles. Make sure you can see this. And I think I've said before is that, you know, with mudras, you know, there are different placements you can do with your hands to affect healing within your body. And so on your 5 fingers, it represents the 5 elements. Okay, let's say earth, wind, fire, water, ether. And there are about 4,000 nerves that run from your hands to the rest of the body. So when you do these mudras, there's, you know, you're accessing the electrical system of your body, and you get this healing going on by doing mudras. So this is like our best-selling book. You can order this from shantibillainstitute.com. We also have Shanti's Ayurvedic Golden Nectar plant food. You see my garden pictures. Gardeners and farmers use this. This is formulated by Sri Charles. Concentrated, add water. It increases soil nutrients, cuts your harvest time in half. The worms love it. And increases plant yield. And then Agnihotra kits. I don't have time to open it up, but we have a kit that you can order. Let me open it real quick. What time is it? 7:38. Comes with the booklet. All these items out of copper. And then here's, oops, pyramid. Comes with a spoon. And that's that. So those are some items if you would like to support the work that we do. We appreciate you purchasing so we can keep what we're doing going. Yeah, outreach, that would be great. So yeah, I don't think I'm gonna have enough time to go over the mudras. So okay, if anybody wants to do a private session, and I'm gonna have to just do it. I'll take it up because there was 2 other things, because I wanted to go over a very powerful Vedic prayer that I have translated from Sanskrit. That's very beautiful. And then I wanted to go and demonstrate the Garuda mudra. So we'll do that next time, because I'm running out of time. So let me see, does anyone have any questions? Let me go back here on Facebook. Let's see. Oops, and that's the alarm for Agnihotra. And I wish I had space to do it on here. You know what? Let me see if I can bring the pyramid over here. Maybe I can do it over here. Let me see. That's actually a good idea. So this is hot, so let me see if I can move this with some tongues and then just do Agnihotra here with everyone. I think that would be a good idea. Okay, I never moved this thing like this, but let's see if we can do this real quick. Okay, so So yeah, I'm gonna try to do the Agnihotra real quick, okay, everybody? So I'm gonna get the pyramid, and you can just sit quietly, and then when the flame goes out, then I'll sign off, okay? Yeah, so I normally do Agnihotra in a separate pyramid because the Agnihotra ash is more potent than just regular Homa ash. Okay, so I think we can pull this off because it's at 7:46 here in Atlanta. Okay. So I already have my cow dung spread with ghee because I burn all the time. It's just easier for me to. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and. So now you can see the process. Okay. So I have my rice. I thought I brought my rice in here. So anyway, you use brown rice for Agnihotra. Just regular brown basmati rice. I mean, I usually, whatever our body eat, I eat rice sometimes. I just buy long grain brown rice or basmati brown rice, and that's what I do. And that's what it looks like. And all the things that we use for Agnihotra are copper. Okay, so now, so I put, let me see, I don't know if you can see how I arranged, you know, because the way, of the angle of the, I don't think you can see it. Okay, so now I'm going to light the fire. Let me move some of this stuff out the way. I got books and things that are flammable. I'm gonna light. I usually have a little centerpiece that I light. And so now I'm adding ghee to build a fire. Because you want to have a little bit of build. You don't have to have it like you're camping, but you do want to have a little bit of a fire built. Okay, and so now I'm ready. So we have what, 1 minute. So I get my rice, and I do everything with my right hand. So I'm gonna say the Sanskrit mantras exactly at sunset, and then we will sit quietly here. I may not speak when I get off of Zoom, but that's how you normally do. I sit silent until the fire goes out, And this is the time you can actually do a mudra while you're sitting in silence as well too. So we have a minute until, see, I got a nice little big fire. You don't have to make it so big. Yes, I did stick my hand right there. I know somebody's gonna be like, what? Because something was falling and I didn't stick my hand into the fire. So here we go. It's Agnihotra time. Agniye Swaha. Agniye Idam Namama Prajapatiye Swaha. Prajapatiye Idam Namama. So I will be talking to you next Saturday for the next Agnihotra Lady Facebook live stream. And thank you so much for joining me this evening. I'm hoping that you have a blessed and peaceful week. Thank you.